potatoes going? Okay, so it's like cut. Alright, basically, I'm going to cut the ends off the onion. This is the front end right here. There we go. And this is the bottom part. The bottom part, you don't want to cut all of it off because it's your stopper when you actually cut the onion. There we go. See how there's still some left? Let's get the part that was in the ground off. Then you're going to cut it in half. It's a really nice onion. Alright, now you're going to make little incisions, but don't cut all the way through the onion. You don't want to cut it in rows. You want the onion to stay together. So you're going to make little bitty into the onion. Alright. You kind of, sometimes at school the chefs will want them all to be the same size, and they pretty much are on this. So what you're going to do next is you're going to cut into the onion horizontally. I'm going to cut this way. Now you want to be careful because this is where a lot of people cut themselves. You want to make sure your fingers are in a safe place. And once again, don't cut all the way through. Alright? There you go. Sometimes the end will kind of act up on you. And one more here. Alright, and then you're just going to chop down diced onions. Okay? Alright, I basically pretty much only need half of this onion for this. There we go. That's about all I need. Transfer this in here. And a lot of times, see, I'm done with the onion now, and it's just now starting to kind of make me tear up. When you don't cut both the ends off the onions, especially all of it, then you have less of a chance of that gas, that tear-like gas, getting to you. But it eventually does come up. So I got my onions. They're going to take a minute to cook, so I'll probably throw those in first. Alright. And I'm pretty much ready for my Brussels sprouts now. Oops, don't need that. Alright, now, for the flavor to really get into my Brussels sprouts, I'm going to pretty much cut them all. For one thing, because they roll so much, they won't really cook evenly if I leave them like this. So I'm just going to cut them all in half. Try to go through this as quick as I can. I'm going to turn on this eye right here, so that can be heating up while I'm preparing for this. See how they're really tender? Like I really don't have to put any force into the knife. It just really goes through. That's when you know you blanched them right. Now we're about to finish cooking my Brussels sprouts. Chef Boy Magic, episode 1. Alright. I remember the first day we cooked these in cooking school, I was really reluctant about them because I had them once at Western Sizzling, and I think that's all they did was boil them, and I pretty much spat them out as soon as I put them in my mouth. Not a very good first experience for Brussels sprouts. If a leaf falls off, that's okay. There's plenty more. So you really just want the bud. All those stray leaves will just burn in your pan. Alright. Just cut them all in half. Some people cut them in fourths, but I kind of like the way the halves look. Oops, sorry. There we go. And we're almost through. The pan's heating up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the ham in there now. And I want some of the grease from the ham to kind of coat the pan. Alright. Be careful, because sometimes you cut the wrong way and your knife will slant and you can cut your finger. Alright. Stir these around a little. Really want some of the juice from this ham. Those parts right here. I'm going to turn it up some. My potatoes are about done. They're getting that glaze on them. Toss in my onions. I'm using a little bit of the steak juice in here, so to get some of the flavor from the steak and also the flavors from everything else in the pan. So we got the ham and the onions in there right now. Next, I'll throw in the Brussels sprouts. Mushrooms take a very short time to cook, so I'm going to throw those in last. I want everything to kind of get brown. Alright, now I'm going to throw in the Brussels sprouts. There we go. Got one more in there. Starting to smell really good. Chef Boy magic. Now since it's sauteing, I'm going to let it sit for a little while and brown. I'm not going to sauce it yet until I put in my mushrooms. Just going to let it kind of sit there and brown on its own. And we're going to check on these potatoes here. Now most of the time people use stock. So hopefully they'll get that glaze on them that I want, but I couldn't find any stock, so I used broth. So when it finally cooks down, hopefully it'll all just kind of come together and glaze in the end. Chef Boy magic. Alright, I'm going to give these a stir because you don't want them to stick when you saute them. I want it all to kind of brown and get a good color on it. And when they all get about done, then I'll pour in the mushrooms. Alright. Give it a little bit more of a stir and turn it up a little more. You saute on high heat, low fat. Make sure your pan's not too crowded. You can still see some of the black space in my pan, so I have a pretty decent amount of space in the pan. It's not overcrowded. Make sure everything's on the bottom of the pan because that's where the heat is.